All right, welcome back. Episode, I don't even know, 5? Do we have any good orders? Oh, look, we got a rough order again. It's not worked quite as much. Look how the price changes. Isn't that interesting? We do have our rough order again. So that's exciting. What are we doing in this episode? So one thing I wanted to say that I was just kind of thinking about recently is I wanted to encourage people to not worry about what level you are if you're new to the game. I was reminded, and I've thought about this before, and I don't think I've said this yet in this series. It really, at this point in the game, it's not about what level you are, it's about what silver you have. So you really can focus more on, wait, is this our little spot? Is this our little spot? This is our little spot, isn't it? You can really focus more on you know, how much silver you have. In other words, and the reason why you're focused on how much silver you have is because it's how much you've been able to update your gear. You really don't have to worry so much about what level you are. Just fish at Mosquito until you're able to, you know, comfortably go to Winding. Which, according to where you're fishing at Winding, it's actually going to be pretty similar to Mosquito if you fish the pond. And, okay, that's too deep here. I need to make that more shallow. We'll go to about 85.85. I think that will work for this spot. And, yeah, it's really more about that than it is what level are you. In other words, like, it's not a rush to 12 so that you can go to Old Berg necessarily. It's a rush to having enough silver to upgrade your gear so that you can start handling bigger fish. I mean, that's really more what we're talking about, what we're looking at here. Ooh, look at that. It was like straight up. Unless I was seeing the wrong one. I don't think I was. It was straight up acting like it had something. So it's getting to be late here, so we're hoping we might be able to nail that rough order once again. We're going to make a killing off that rough order if we keep this up. Alright. I don't know if you hear it, but something's pulling our line out. That is absolutely fine with me. Let's see what we got here. Nice little fish. Big old crucian. Big old crucian. Alright, let's tighten these up. So anyway, that was just my thought for the day. I think early in level especially, you really want to see it more as working on gear progression, not so much working on what level you are. The XP is going to come much faster early on than the silver. Now that will change. You'll reach a point where the silver is coming pretty regularly at higher lakes, but the XP feels like it takes a long time. But that's pretty far into the game, you know. So we're going to try to just shovel here as much as we can. During this episode, our goal is to level up bait crafting. We'll also purchase some bread because we'll craft a little bread here and there. But mostly we want to try to get the points off of digging for worms. And you see we're failing so much. You know, it's not the worst idea ever. It's not the worst ever to put points in bait crafting when you reset your skills. Some people keep it even afterwards, but I certainly enjoyed having the ability to fail a little less when digging for worms when I was leveling up bait crafting. Like, I think that is a reasonable thing to do. Here's another nice fish. And one thing I like about shoveling when you're at this level is you get to focus on doing something other than just standing waiting on your feeder rods to pop. And you know, once we get bait crafting up, then we'll start doing some spin fishing, and by then we should have enough silver to worry about that. And again, you see we had a rough on there. We need to remember to check for the rough pretty regularly throughout the night. So we're up to 3.8, almost to 4%. Oh, a little rough. Look, we even caught a rough on our float. That does sound like we've got something on one or both of these. Sleeper. This is a big sleeper if this is a sleeper. Looks like it's a crucian or something. Oh, it's a perch. Oh yeah, we do have worms out, don't we? I wonder if we should put maggots out. Do we have maggots, or do we need to go pick them up real quick? We don't have any maggots left. Let's go pick up some maggots and some bread real quick. Maybe try to catch this fish first. I think the maggots might have gotten the rough a little more consistently. We'll try 1 maggots and 1 worms. The thing is, the worms are free as we just keep digging them up, you know. But maggots are inexpensive, and I really like maggots for low-level places, especially. I'm just gonna go ahead and try to grab this guy. Okay, we'll put it right back in, and then we'll hustle back. All right. We'll hustle right back. All right, so we want we'll just do 1 thing of maggots for now. We're trying to save up our silver. We need to get that net to help us catch fish. Probably need to do that next, to be honest. And let's get some bread. Not to eat so much as to make bread out of it. Just to have for bait. I hear our bells going off. So if you stop and then shovel, you can run while you're shoveling. Slows you down a little bit, but not by much. I hear you. We've got 2 fish on here. Man, that rough swam all the way to us. I guess I'll put maggots on the other one. I've kind of forgot. The thing is, maggots have a chance of catching the bream better than the worms. I mean, that's basically the reason why you might want one or the other over the other. Let's throw maggots on there. Worms catch a little bit of everything, but I feel like maggots do a little better job of targeting some of the better stuff at times, at least. Looks like we do have a little sleeper on here. Right now, the fishing is hot, let's be honest. I mean, we're getting bite after bite. For mosquito, this has been pretty good. All right, this is on the worms. So we'll kind of keep tabs. I would think the worms might be a better bite ratio than the maggots, but again, the maggots might sometimes catch better fish. Is my suspicion. We'll see if that bears fruit this time, but... All right. So we're at 4.4. I really may put a point into digging worms. It is, it just takes so long to level when you're failing this much. You just got to think. You just got to think that, you know, the trade-off. You're giving up a skill point in something just so you can level up crafting a little faster. But to me, it might just be worth it. Look how many failures in a row that is. And then remember, we can make bread, which that'll give us points probably every time at this level. But it also gets expensive. I mean... That is a lot of silver you're going to be putting towards bread and then potatoes to level it up. You will get a lot of bait out of it. You just don't need to use potatoes for a long time, though. Just remember, potatoes catch really big carp at times. So you really don't want to put them in the water no matter where you are. Especially not here with beginner gear. But I occasionally use potatoes at bear, but that's on high level gear, you know, so. That's on pretty high level gear. All right, that was a nice real rough on the maggots. Let's see, the worms might have caught one as well. 25 gram. There's red worm. So nice. Ugh. Pulled it out of its mouth. All right, guys. Sorry, somebody's I think in the middle of a competition. I'm gonna just quickly be logging into my main account over on my other screen while we're fishing. I will try not to let it interrupt this video making very much. So let's see. He is at bear in a comp and needs barbel ground bait, which I'm gonna have to get on my main account to get him that. I do think we should go. I'm thinking we're getting pretty close to that rough order. What I'd really like to do is try to catch some bream species. Just have to figure out where we want to cast from. Maybe from the maybe from the dock. I don't know. We've got a bunch of rough. I don't know that we have enough exactly the right size, but we might. It's gonna be close. There's another one. Yes. So this is what, just another little trick, little tip here. If you have a marker, you know, use that one last to fill a cafe order in this kind of situation, because the marker will be worth the most money. All right, so we did that. We did that order. Oh my goodness, we already got the Chinese sleeper order done for 4 more silver. That's huge, 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 huge. We may get some other stuff done random here. I'd really like to try to target the bream. I don't know how successful we'll be, but I'd really like to. And I think we'll try to do it down here from dock. All right. So I need to buy sunflower seeds and coriander to send him that ground bait. Sunflower seeds and coriander. That'd be cool if Tink started coming out in this spot. Alright, let me do this real quick. Well, let's focus in on the bobber. Yeah, let me do this real quick. Sunflower and coriander. Oh wait, was it it wasn't sunflower seed, was it? Sunflower seed. Can I not make barbel mix yet? Huh. I was thinking I could. I guess I'm not quite there yet. Wow, okay. Alright, so do I have any that I can send him? Okay, I do have a couple of pieces here. Alright, we're getting spooled over here. Maybe this will be a tench, speaking of tench. Yeah. My goodness. It's going to be hard to get a real tench in, if that's any indication. Oh, and one thing you'll notice is our food, we're getting so much hungrier because of doing the digging. Your hunger goes down a lot faster when you're doing stuff like digging. Alright. So if you are doing a lot of digging, what you can do is you can eat the bread until you have one piece of it left. You see it comes in 4 pieces. And then you can make it into bread bait. You'll get less bait, but you'll still have the same chance of getting a level up on your bait crafting. So it doesn't really matter if you only make a small stack of bread bait. It's still worth doing. 5.3. Look at that big fish, guys. Holy cow. I don't know if we even want to catch that fish. I'm not sure if that was like a huge gibble or if that was a common carp. But that was a little scary, to be honest. All right, we're going to go try... We're gonna go try the 5-meter hole for bream species for a little bit. Just see if they happen to be biting today. Keep digging. We're already up to 65 silver. Let's go ahead and buy the net, because the net might come in handy here, especially fishing off the dock. If we do land something a little bigger, a little harder to land, it might be helpful. I guess the other thing we could do is we could fish from here. I mean, we should be able to get in that hole just as easily, like right there. Let's try it. And we'll go worms, and let's try 91% instead of full cast. We'll go worms and maggots. And you'll notice that I often put my feeder rods at an angle, and that's just an old habit. See if they're moving at all. They're really not. To me, that kind of means like they didn't really fall at all. I'm wondering if we didn't quite get them in the hole. I'm wondering if that's what that means. That's actually a good suggestion. Somebody was suggesting I should take this account into the comp they're about to do at the cottage pond. I just don't know if I want to be. Let's see what they're fishing for. Oh, unsuccessful. That is frustrating. That is frustrating. What were you even doing over here? I don't even remember. Oh, we were going to go ahead and buy the net. Alright, so $27.50. This helps you bring in the bigger fish. This will be a lifesaver as we start to become a little more aggressive in terms of the fish we're targeting. Alright, let's see what we got here. Level 9 on that tench. So again, I'm just not sure. I mean, tench is great. I'm not sure we were actually in the hole there. Let's see if that is settling. Yeah, see how much more that's settling? I really believe we weren't in the hole. Alright, so let's look at the comp. If you click on comps, low level premium comp going on at Cottage Pond, fish species, crucian, gibble, and perch. It has to be float fishing only. I don't think I'm going to do that. There's only 23 people in there, though. We could do that. Float fishing only. Do we do that? This is when I like streaming better than making YouTube videos, when I can get feedback from my viewers. Would y'all like for me to do that? How long is the comp? It's probably a 24-hour, isn't it? Yeah, so it'll be one full day. Crucian, gibble, and means we have to get a second. We have to actually buy a second feeder float rod. How much is it going to cost us to do this comp? If we do it. Okay, so we could get away with another one of these. 4.8. It's too bad they don't have that one in stock. I guess we go check winding, but 4.8. with 4.5 load capacity. We wouldn't want the long one anyway. And then get some more 10-pound line. It really only costs about, we have enough silver we could do it. I just don't know that I want to do that. What time did it say it's starting? Starting at 4. Nah, we're not going to do that. That's 36 minutes. It doesn't even start for 36 minutes, and then it'll be an hour. That's more time than I want to spend on this deal. Reposition this. Okay, we got something here. Maybe it'll be a white or a silver or something. Looks like it, doesn't it? Yep, that is what we're going for. Of course, we want the markers, but that is certainly what we're going for. Let's tighten these up. Alright, that one's settled. That one's settled. Very good. Alright, I don't think we're going to get distracted by the comp. So much failure. It's like, should we put our 1 point in harvesting worms? I think we will. Just 1 point. I feel like when you have the total of 3 points in there, you see a huge, huge difference in terms of the amount of failing you do. It's not that you don't fail anymore, but it's just kind of not near as often. What are we catching in this spot? Sleeper still? It's a big sleeper, to be fair. Keep your rod tip up. Keep pressure on it. Looks like that might also be a little white. So the downside of this is we're getting the right species we want. We're just getting small ones, right? And that might be a time of day thing. As it gets later in the afternoon, a little cooler. When it finally does, we might see a little increase in size. Wow. The fail is real. think in this spot we probably could have it a little deeper. I think it's a little deeper there than it was in the other location we were fishing at. So now we have insufficient energy to continue. All right, let's... I think we should consider moving. This has gotten pretty slow. It's gotten pretty slow. Unless there's a white bream order for the small ones. That might be a reason it's worth staying, but... no, it's actually for big ones. And that's for real big ones. We just don't have the casting strength to get into any of the other deep holes, I don't think. Let's see what we get here. Nothing. I know it's hard to spend money on making baits at this level, but believe me, it is worth it. It is worth it to have the ability to make some of the nicer baits. Especially at winding. Let's try a little deeper, see if that changes anything. We'll go 1.2 meters here. Let's cast it a little farther out though. Yeah, that's good. Ooh, that one's... Alright, this bite rate's too small. This bite rate's too small. This just might not be the right time or location to go for bream here. I don't know. Tell you what, let's do something fun here. Let's put a red worm in. Let's put a red worm in the water and see what, if anything, it gets. We've gotten a few of those from the random digging worms. So let's switch to red worm. We only have 5 of them. We should be good just going straight out here. And then we'll keep worms in, go straight down this coast line. And straighten them out. And let's try bread. We'll do 1 meter exactly. We're not going to go too far out here. Yeah. I think that's sitting straight, isn't it? I believe so. Alright, we've got a little energy, so let's dig. Hopefully this will get changed eventually, just for the realistic sake, but you can actually dig on the wooden pier and find some worms. I guess we can imagine that we're digging underneath the pier, but we're actually having good luck digging at the pier. So I only have one rod sort of in the bream hole because we're expecting that to be a slower bite rate. So we'll put worms over here on the side, try to just get a little bit higher quantity of fish. We're getting another bite on worms. Oops. And that is what we would expect on bread, just to kind of get a bunch of crucian and gibbles for the most part. Here close to the dock. Oh, that's a nice weighty fish. I like it. Worms, so again, crucian and gibbles with the occasional tench maybe. Although I don't know how many tench are over on this side. Oh, we've got something on red worms. Let's see what we got. Not what we were wanting there. Some full cast. Sorry guys, just saw someone asked a question on one of our YouTube videos. I'll have to answer that question later. That's actually quite the complicated question. That's funny.
13 minutes for a step.
That is actually funny. All right. We should probably check our feeder rods, but I'm thinking this bite might go down here pretty soon. Let's go ahead and get it. Yeah, both feeder rods have something on there. See what this is. Ooh, yeah. That is a nice white bream. That's kind of what we're fishing for here. That is what we're going for. Why is this not... Why is it not... There we go. Okay, that was weird. That was really weird. See, I really like this spot. I think in one of our earlier videos I showed this spot. To me, this is a really nice spot because you can do different things at the same time. Float fishing is not bad here, day or night. kind of off to the side like this. Feeder fishing along the left shore bank here catches the normal like high quantity of stuff you would expect on worms and maggots and stuff. And then straight out you do have a chance at those really nice white bream and even regular bream. So to me this is a pretty cool little spot for mosquito. Alright, let's check this order real quick. So our white bream was not quite big enough for the larger order and too big for the smaller order. So we're probably not going to be getting an order done with that. We're one gibble away from doing that one, so you never know. We could get that one, but that's only 3 silver. Only 3 silver. So I do have these set to shortcuts in the order that you see them. So number 1 is my float bar, my float rod. Number 2 is my middle feeder rod that's got the worms on it that we just caught that fish on. And number 3 is my third rod over here. So it just kind of helps me switch back and forth to have them set up in the numerical order that the shortcuts are set up. And if you don't remember, you hold down U to drag rods up to your shortcut bar. We're getting a lot of small little crucians here on bread, but that's fine. So let's dig, and then we'll go get our free food for the day. Are we going to get up to 10% here? During this video, we might. By the way, let's check and see how much that white bream is worth. Let's see if it's as worth it as in my mind I think it is. So almost 3 silver. I don't know, I might have expected it to be a little bit more, but if you look at the price of the other fish we have, even some markers, nothing is really that big. Even the big Chinese sleeper wasn't that much. So that's the most valuable fish we've caught. So it is more valuable than other fish, although the bite rate is a lot slower too, as you've seen. It's a nice little fish here. Nice little crucian. So we're going to dig until it says insufficient energy. And then we're going to get our free meal for the day. And let energy build back up. We're at 9.1%, so yeah, we might make 10% on this episode. Yeah, insufficient energy. All right. So it's still counting the last time we ate as being today. I guess it was after midnight. I don't know how that works actually, but figured we'd have a fish on at least one of our rods. They've been quiet for a little bit here. Oh, that's a white bream as well. 167. Not a marker, but oh, on the red worms. Oh, this is tiny. It's gonna be one of those like really small white bream, I bet. Unless it's a rough or something. Yeah, it's a rough. Oh, I need to show you. Next time we get a fish on, I'll show you how to use the landing net that we bought. Even though we won't necessarily need to on a small fish. Alright, I should be able to show you here. So if you hit space, you'll pull out your net. And it didn't show the animation there, so I'll try to do it again. But you basically will reach the net out. You can reach it out a certain distance to automatically catch the fish without having to lift it up as far or drag it in. I think we need to get lucky on some red worms here. We're down to 2 left. But I think at this lake, it's fine to use maggots over red worms. To me, in fact, we'll go check and see if red worms are even in stock here. But to me, red worms aren't going to be worth the cost at this level. I love red worms, I really do, but they're pretty expensive for 30. So let's see if we can use. It's hard to use the net when the fish are so small. Anyway, you hit the space bar. You can no longer reel once you pull your net out. And so hit the space bar again to put it back up if you end up not being ready for it. So what were we going to look at? Bait. See if red worms are in stock. So they're not even in stock here, but I think they're usually around 10 to 11 silver. Casters are not in stock. If they were in stock, I would get those to try them. Casters and maggots to me are really good. Bloodworms are pretty nice. You'll see a lot of people catching frogs off the bloodworms. If you look at the weekly frogs here, or frogs at Mosquito, let's look on some of the newer servers. You'll see bloodworms show up. So you can get them off of bloodworms. If you're trying to catch frogs, you have to, it's best to put it right on the surface. Frogs will come up right up to the surface in terms of setting your distance there. Your depth has to be really shallow. You fish for them right near the side. Another decent net of fish. Once again, that rough order helped us out. We paid for the, more than paid for the keep net. Sorry, I always say the wrong thing. Landing net with those 2 rough orders we got yesterday and today. I'm guessing it's going to reset after midnight. And because we only have worms on 1 rod, we are digging more worms than we're using. And as long as you dig faithfully, you will really not ever need to buy worms. And you'll also not ever need to go back to the cottage pond. You'll end up, because sometimes you'll gather multiple worms. It'll add up. Nice, got one red worm. Oops. I actually meant to switch it here. Look how fast, it's like a little motorboat. That fish is cruising. What's cruising away with my bread? Maximum number of fish caught for the day. Yeah, we've had a pretty good day here, haven't we? What's going on with that red worm, though? Nope. $9.7, but remember we have to get to 20% to get pearl barley, so we're still got a long ways to go. A lot of digging still. At this point, I am suspecting that we're going to end up going to winding before we get to 20% and get pearl barley. I know I had said that, but I just don't. I don't think we're going to spend the silver on bread or potatoes to get there super fast. But it also is just taking so long. We'll be level 12 here at Mosquito if we wait too long. Which is fine, like I was saying at the beginning. It's more about silver, not about the level. Speaking of silver, as much as I would like to start saving up for our next upgraded feeder rod, I do think we're going to buy a beginner spinning setup, so that when we do go to winding, we can try that a little bit. Nice, we got red worm again. I think next fish we catch, we'll put maggots on the other line. There's another white bream. And really try to hit the bream hole hard here in the later hours. Just see if it pays off at all. This is when you would expect bream fishing to pick up a little bit. What size hooks do we have? 15 and 16. We're almost at 11%. So before we wrap the video up, we will try just a couple more in-game hours of this bream hole, just to see if right now it's worth the time and energy or not. We know spots obviously where we could be catching rough and Chinese sleepers all night. Some of them would be markers, so they're worth some silver. Some of them wouldn't be, but and I have done really well in this bream hole. Now, I am also wondering if not having smaller hooks. First of all, the bigger regular bream would probably prefer closer to 12 or at least 10, maybe even 10 hooks. I mean, on my main account, I use 8 hooks on bream and still catch the smaller species. So that could be impacting us. With redworm, we're probably not going to catch anything else. The problem is that every once in a while, a common carp will get on the maggot. So I don't know how wise it is to increase the hook size too much. We're going to go to worms. Which one is it, the redworm or the maggots? Looks like it's the redworm. All right, let's see what's happening here. See what we're looking at. If this is a white bream, it's, you know, probably a marker. Ooh, a silver. Okay. I think I'm going to get slightly larger hook, if we can. I think we're going to go a little bit bigger. We need to put a little nicer hook on that one anyway. So we've got 15. Let's go to like Lucky 13 or something if they have it. And at this point, if I'm buying a new hook when I'm this level, I don't want to get anything worse than a happy hook. So they do have a 13. We've got the silver for it. Let's get it. Let's see how we're doing on orders. Make sure we're not like getting close to anything. We do have 1 in that category now, so it's not looking great. We're probably not going to finish any other orders. Is it after midnight? No. We're going to test this right after midnight to see if we can then we need one of those glow in the dark floats for right now. Alright, let's go ahead and get this in so we can put the bigger hook on. Give that a quick test. Give that a quick test. So, we've just got a much higher quality hook on now. Now if we could just afford higher quality line and a whole higher quality rig, we'd be in shape. But we'll get there. It's like, what other rod is in the way? Come on now. Alright, so let's go ahead and start putting our basic spinning rig together. I think we can afford the very starter spinning rod. Let's see. So 4.5, 4.5, 5.5. I think we'll just go with the, well, yeah, I think we'll just go with the 4.5. And then we're going to need another spark that we don't quite have enough for yet. So this will be our spinning reel. Oh, we need to get line as well. We probably won't have a leader on there to start off with. So after midnight we can go get our free food. I think it will work that way. We're only at 22 silver. So isn't that interesting? It's like, oh, that's what we were gonna go try to go feed ourselves. It's like that rough order is worth almost what all of the fish we've caught here is worth. Cafe orders are so important at a low level. Yeah, so it's after midnight, it let us eat. So it resets at midnight. All right, we're not going to go much longer. I'm just a little surprised that we haven't been able to get a little more action in this little 5-meter hole with our bait we've got out there. All right, let's go ahead and sell. It puts us at 28 silver, so we can go ahead and get the reel and maybe the line. All right, let's think about this. Let's go ahead and get the reel first and put it on, and then we can look and see what line we're gonna want. So 3 sparks. We own 3 sparks. It's a lot, but you know, I wouldn't get a third one except for the fact that we're going to do feeder fishing. So the line can't be any bigger than 3 or we risk tearing up the reel. So if we do 4-pound line, we're going to tear up the reel. 1.7. Here's 2.3. It's just so expensive for that nicer line. What about the braided line? Can we find something that would work here? 4.5 is just a little much. Maybe what we have to use though. Maybe what we have to use, just overload the reel and risk breaking it. If we're going to do that, we really would need a leader. 6 is too big. Okay, we could do a 2.1 leader. We could be a 2.1 leader. We'll just snap the leader instead of instead of the wrist. It's gonna make reeling things in really hard, but we can make it work. And we'll put super braid on there. Put some. Well, we could get gray. Might be the safest choice. I do like dark green sometimes, though. Blue, huh? Blue would be the most fun choice. 4.5. Blue is out of stock. Alright, let's go with the green. No, let's go with the gray. Sorry. Alright, let's go check our float rod over here. Something pulled it way over there. Hopefully there's fish on both of these, but nope. Still on the red worm. Okay. So we put a little bigger hook, and it looks like we're getting a little better bite here. A little better bite here. But this is going for bream species with red worm. I wouldn't do that on just any. Yeah, that's a nice white. Nice little white. Little baby leader on there. How much silver do we have up? Yeah, we can afford the lure. So we can at least get a couple casts in before we finish this video. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. We're gonna this is mostly for winding, but wait, no, actually we want this one, don't we? No? Hold on. That one looks cool. I thought it was. Is it the 8? No. Okay. Maybe it's just the 7. Let's look here. We need to be at. Okay, it's that one. Dragonfly Stream 4007. Okay. I think that's the one that. Oops. Dragonfly Stream 4007. I think that's the one that I've heard people say is pretty good. We're going to have to try a lot of different ones. It's going to matter like time of day, weather, and all kinds of stuff. But I at least think that's a decent one that we could start off with. All right. Put that up. So now we hit U, and we're going to drag our spinning rod in place of our float fishing. And we're going to dig up some worms. Get our bait up a little bit more before we start spin fishing just for a couple minutes. We might as well because we're going to catch more fish at a early in the morning or later in the morning than we are this time. So we'll just do this till we run out of energy. We've done pretty good leveling up by digging this episode, really. I was thinking if we could at least get to 10, but we've gone past 10. 12.1% now. 3. Alright. Here we go. Retrieval speed. Let's try just 12. Oh yeah, we don't have our lure on there. I forgot they start you with a lure. That's kind of cool. Alright, let's get this fish in first. See what we got here. These little spinner baits, my understanding is that mostly we just want to do straight return. And we will probably get a little more success at winding compared to here, but we're going to certainly try it here a couple casts. So this is probably what we'll be doing a lot of if we're going to do this, is casting and not catching fish a lot, but waiting on our feeders. Especially if we try to make it work here at Mosquito. Let's try this other little guy one time here. Sun's finally coming up. We've talked about this on my stream a few times lately, but if you are, if you have ignored spin fishing and you're a little higher level and you're looking to try to level it up as quickly as possible so that you can start using spoons, certainly one of the difficulties is you can't use, if you look at spin fishing, you can't fish with spoons till you get it up to 15%. And obviously right now we're at 0%. So we can't use spoons, and spoons tend to be really good in the game. And so one way we've talked about, that players can, that's going to be an actual bream here. We had our what do you call it? We had our drag way too high there. We might be able to get this fish in now that it's calmed down a little bit. See if we can kind of keep pressure on it, but also walk a little closer to it. Well, the net may actually come into really good use here. The landing net. Ideally, we do want to try to get it down to a spot where we can bring it up to as level as possible. Now it's just a waiting game. Waiting for it to get tired, basically. Hoping it doesn't spool us. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding a spot where you put enough pressure on the fish that it slows it down from spooling you, and then just being a little bit patient. Fatigue will start to set in on the fish. According to what species, it may look a little different, but it'll happen eventually. Even with some of the big catfish that just feel like they never tire out, they eventually start to slow down. You can hear our bells going off. We have a fish on the other line. Hopefully it's not spooling us. It's definitely a bad habit I have because I'm used to fishing with so much stronger gear. It's leaving my drag on too high. Well, this fish has caused this video to be a little longer than I had expected it would be, but it'll be fun if we can actually get it in to see what it is. I'm thinking it's maybe like a 2-kilo bream or something. It's very small compared to how much of a fight it's putting up. And then we'll have to hustle and get back to the other rig to see if we can get that one in as well. Yeah, you see it's just kind of... It has finally decided that it would rather just come to shore than keep fighting. Keep the rod tip up. Just at least decrease the chances that it's going to get off. Again, we have a pretty nice hook on here, so less of a chance of the fish getting off than it would be if it was one of the starter cheap hooks. And we can see it in the water there. It actually looks like it might be a tench or something. I don't know. It doesn't look like a bream at all. Alright, and you see how the net works here. The net goes out right towards the fish. 1.6 kilo tench. That is a nice fish, and it will be some nice silver for our little account. That was really cool. Alright, let's see if we can still get this other fish. Yeah, it looks like we will. Okay, another nice white bream. And finally, we'll do this reel in, and maybe we'll increase the speed of retrieval, and we'll do one more cast, and then we'll be done for this video. All right. So let's do a retrieval speed of 18. Cast as far as we can. And we'll just do a straight retrieve and see how it goes. tough spin fishing here at Mosquito. Not that it's going to be easy at winding. It won't be easy there either. You may find it hard to catch fish at this level with spinning. I just don't have a lot of experience using these spinner baits. That's really what I want though. It's just kind of right close to this shoreline. Hope that we'll get a perch or something on there. Would love to show you what it looks like to catch a fish on a spinner setup, but it may not be in the cards today for this episode. We'll check, see if there's a tench order real quick. I'm sure there's not unless one just popped, but that was a good try. We gave it our all to get a fish on there, but did not work out. Okay. Oh my goodness. Trophy bream order. Wow. Okay. Let's see. That tench should be pretty nice. Yeah, that's a 6.5 silver fish, so we will take that. Good little increase in silver there right at the end. That was the most expensive fish we've sold so far. We're back up to 14, so if we decide to go to winding for the next video, we could do that. That is an option that I will consider while preparing for the next video. Hope this has been helpful. Hope you've enjoyed it. I am definitely enjoying leveling up this account and trying to be a little more intentional about just thinking through good advice for a new player and keeping this a free-to-play account, just seeing what happens. And remember, the most important thing I've done in this video is dig with your shovel. Level up that bait. Here we are at level 9, and we are, oh, did you see that? We got red worms, but we didn't get leveling up. The higher you get, even when you start successfully getting worms, you'll see not getting level up points. But we are well on our way on this account to being on schedule. You want to be up at 50% sometime around the point in which you start fishing at Corey. 12.7%, so pretty good. All right, as always, thanks for watching and I hope you have a good day.